Hello, and welcome to Historical Humans Reads, where we take primary sources and bring them to your screen. I'm Colum Coleman, and today we are reading from Areopagitica, a speech delivered by British poet and historian John Milton to Parliament in 1644. This speech is considered to be one of the most passionate and influential defenses of the freedom of speech and expression to have ever been delivered. Unfortunately, the Areopagitica had little immediate effect, as it would be a further 50 years until laws censoring the printed word would be relaxed in 1695. Today we'll be reading the opening lines of the Areopagitica. With that, let's begin. This is true liberty, when freeborn men, having to advise the public, may speak free, which he who can and will deserves high praise. Who neither can nor will may hold his peace. What can be juster in a state than this? Euripides Hyactid. They, who to states and governors of the Commonwealth direct their speech, High Court of Parliament, or, wanting such access in a private condition, write that which they foresee may advance the public good. I suppose them, as at the beginning of no mean endeavor, not a little altered, and moved inwardly in their minds, some with doubt of what will be the success, others with fear of what will be the censure, some with hope, others with confidence of what they have to speak. And me, perhaps each of these dispositions, as the subject was whereon I entered, may have at other times variously affected, and likely might in these foremost expressions now also disclose which of them swayed most. But that the very attempt of this address thus made, and the thought of whom it hath recourse to, hath got the power within me to a passion far more welcome than incidental to a preface. Which though I stay not to confess ere any ask, I shall be blameless, if it be no other than the joy and gratulation which it brings to all who wish and promote their country's liberty, whereof this whole discourse proposed with a certain testimony, if not a trophy. For this is not the liberty which we can hope, that no grievance ever should arise in the Commonwealth, that let no man in this world expect, but when complaints are freely heard, deeply considered, and speedily reformed, then is the utmost bound of civil liberty attained that wise men look for. To which, if I now manifest by the very sound of this which I shall utter, that we are already in good part arrived, and yet from such a steep disadvantage of tyranny and superstition grounded into our principles as was beyond the manhood of a Roman recovery, it will be attributed first, as is most due, to the strong assistance of God our deliverer, next to your faithful guidance and undaunted wisdom, lords and commons of England. Neither is it in God's esteem the diminution of his glory when honorable things are spoken of, good men and worthy magistrates, which, if I now should first begin to do, after so fair a progress of your laudable deeds, and such a long obligement upon the whole realm of your indefatigable virtues, I might be justly reckoned among the tardiest and the unwillingest of them that praise ye. Nevertheless, there being three principal things, without which all praising is but courtship and flattery. First, when that only is praised which is solidly worth praise. Next, when the greatest likelihoods are brought that such things are truly and really in those persons to whom they are ascribed. The other, when he who praises, by showing that such is his actual persuasion is of whom he writes, can demonstrate that he flatters not. The former two of these I have heretofore endeavored, rescuing the employment from him who was about to impair your merits with a trivial and malignant encomium. The latter, as belonging chiefly to my own acquittal, that whom I so extolled I did not flatter, hath been reserved opportunely to this occasion. For he who freely magnifies what hath been nobly done, and fears not to declare as freely what might be done better, gives ye the best covenant of his fidelity, and that his loyalest affection and his hope waits on your proceedings. His highest praising is not flattery, and his plainest advice is a kind of praising. For though I should affirm and hold by argument that it would fare better with truth, with learning, and the commonwealth, if one of your published orders, which I should name, were called in, yet at the same time it could not be much redound to the luster of your mind and equal government, whenas private persons are hereby animated to think ye better pleased with public advice than other states have been delighted heretofore with public flattery. And men will then see what difference there is between the magnanimity of a tyrannical parliament and that jealous haughtiness of prelates and cabinet councillors that usurped of late, whenas they shall observe ye in the midst of your victories and successes more gently broking written exceptions against a voted order than other courts, which hath produced nothing worth memory but the weak ostentation of wealth, which have endured the least signified dislike at any sudden proclamation. If I should thus far presume upon the meek demeanor of your civil and great gentleness, lords and commons, as what your published order hath directly said, that to gainsay I might defend myself with ease, if any should accuse me of being new or insolent, did they but know how much better I find ye esteem it to imitate the old and elegant humanity of Greece than the barbaric pride of a Hunnish and Norwegian stateliness, and out of those ages to whose polite wisdom and letters we owe that which are not yet Goths and Jutlanders, I could name him who from his private house wrote the discourse to Parliament of Athos, that persuaded them to change the form of democracy which was then established. Such honor was done in those days to men who professed the study of wisdom and eloquence, not only in their own countries, but in other lands, that cities and signatories heard them gladly and with great respect, if they had aught in the public to admonish the state. Thus did Dion Prusaeus, a stranger and private orator, counsel the Rhodians against a former edict, and I abound with other like examples, which to set here would be superfluous. But if from the industry of a life wholly dedicated to the studious labors and those natural endowments, happily not the worst for 52 degrees of northern latitude, so much must be derogated as to count me not equal to any of those who had this privilege, I would obtain to be thought not so inferior as yourselves are superior to the most of them who receive their counsel. And how far you excel them, be assured, lords and commons, there can be no greater testimony appear than when your prudent spirit acknowledges and obeys the voice of reason from what quarter soever it be heard speaking, and renders ye willing to repeal any act of your own setting forth, as any set forth by your predecessors. This has been an excerpt from Areopagitica on Historical Humans Reads. If you enjoyed this video and like to hear more excerpts from original texts, please subscribe to be notified of the next one. If there is a work you would like to hear, be sure to like the video and leave a comment listing it below. Thank you for listening.